Tanya Kafoino, and welcome to the first lesson of Banu 1. My name is Professor Corvus Cepheus from the UEE Xenolinguistics Institute, where I and others work to better understand not only the languages, but also the cultures of the alien species with whom we share the galaxy. In this introductory language series, we will be covering many of the Banu basics to get you started and answer any questions you may have, but independent study and practice will be required if you want to achieve a measurable level of fluency. We'll begin this first lesson with learning about some of the basics of sentence structure, and along the way, how to communicate whether or not you've understood someone. So the first thing we'll learn how to say is, I understand you. Eto is a pronoun meaning I or me. Wani is a type 1 verb meaning to understand. Ino is another pronoun meaning you. Type 1 verbs work much in the same way that verbs in UEE standard work. They're doing words. Eat, teach, write would all be examples of type 1 verbs in Banu. The word order for type 1 verbs also works in the same way as in UEE standard, subject, verb, object, or SVO, where you state the subject, the action it is taking, then what is being acted upon. So when we say eto wani ino, it means I understand you. If we were to reverse the order of the words, we would have a similar result as in UEE standard. Ino wani eto means you understand me, which carries a much different meaning. While this translation was pretty straightforward between our two languages, they are not all this easy. Remember how I said this was the word order for type 1 verbs? Well, there are 7 types of verbs, each with their own rules, some of which are very different from what you may be used to. But do not worry, we'll tackle this together when we get to it. Our next word plays 3 different roles, so don't be confused when it shows up later with a similar definition and different usage. But right now we're going to look at its role as a particle. Ye is used to negate verbs. This means that it changes the definition to the opposite of what the word originally meant. It functions this way when it comes immediately before a verb. So if wani means understand, then ye wani means don't understand or misunderstand. Therefore, as you may be able to guess, eto ye wani ino means I do not understand you. These sentences can both be shortened when the person who it is directed towards is understood through context. You could more simply say eto wani or eto ye wani to express your understanding. There you go. Your first 2 Banu sentences which will help you communicate to a Banu speaker if you understood them. Next, we'll examine a sentence which you can use with increasing confidence as you progress along your Banu journey. What if you wanted to use Banu to tell someone, I can speak Banu? Well, that would be eto nja yufuzo uBanu. Now, let's break this down because there's a lot to learn from this sentence. We just learned about eto in the last section. Nja is a word that means can or able to, and is a type 6 verb. We'll go over type 6s in more detail in a later lesson. But right now, you just need to know that they come immediately before the main verb. If you're wondering what I mean by main verb, it's the verb in the sentence that indicates the primary action being taken, and will typically be either a type 1 or type 2 verb, but not always. So in this sentence, that would make the main verb yufu, which is a type 2 verb meaning speak or talk. Type 2 verbs are similar to type 1s in that they come after the subject, which in this sentence is eto, but they do not act upon an object. They only state what the subject is doing. We're going to skip zo for a second and look at uBanu next. uBanu is a noun that means Banu, and it's that u in the beginning that makes it a noun. To the Banu, the word Banu is not a noun, but is a type 7 verb that means be Banu. By adding that specific vowel to the beginning, the verb is changed into a noun that means a Banu person. Additionally, the Banu don't call their language Banu the same way that we do, and that's where zo comes in. Zo, much like ye, is a word that plays multiple roles with similar meanings, and as such, it is a word that you will see often. Its meaning can be boiled down to similarity. It is used to compare things, providing context and clarification to a sentence. Here, it is being used as a type 5 verb meaning in the manner of. Now, let's recap. Yufu, being a type 2 verb, has to come after eto, the subject. Nja is a type 6 verb, so it must come immediately before the main verb, yufu. So nja goes between eto and yufu. Zo then relates the speaking to be in the manner of a Banu person. The literal translation of the sentence would be, I can speak in the manner of a Banu person. And the practical translation would be, I can speak Banu. Translating sentences can be a great way to practice your Banu, and using a literal translation as an in-between can be very helpful. Remember, Banu is its own language, which sometimes conveys ideas in a different way than in UEE standard. This can be difficult to wrap your head around if this is your first time learning a second language. It is more important that you convey the idea of what you want to say than it is that you translate the words of what you're thinking. We've actually covered a lot in this lesson, but I want to talk about one last thing before you go. Looking again at eto nja yufu zo uBanu, while the sentence is grammatically correct, in practice, what a Banu would most likely say is eto nja yufu zubanu. The first sentence is an example of zo pamba, or chop speak, and the second is zo yiilo, or glue speak. The Banu have a tendency to smash words together, similar to how we combine words like don't or shouldn't have, except they do it like they get to charge you for each contraction. Again, more details in a later lesson, but for now, I just want to say that Banu 1 will be zopamba, chop speak, unless otherwise specified. You shouldn't have to worry about using zoyiilo until you're ready to move past the most basic level. This concludes the first lesson of Banu 1. Today we learned about basic sentence structure, type 1 and type 2 verbs, and briefly covered topics that will be expanded on in future lessons. You can find your optional homework in the description below. You can call me Professor Corvus, and if you have any questions, please share them in the comments below. I would like to give a special thank you to Britton Watkins, the creator of the Banu language, not just for creating the language, but also for proofreading my script here. He has been a big help to me in my Banu language learning journey, so I just want to say thanks again, Britton.